Hey, what's going on? This is Sherrita C W Delacruz, and this is the Figures of Speech Talkcast, powered by Esoterica Entertainment, Blast Music 24/7, and you. Today, we have Brandi Rojas with the Firehouse on the Figures of Speech Talkcast. Hey!
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm so glad to have you on today. I just left it at this is the Firehouse. I want you to just go in, let everyone know uh, what is the Firehouse. First of all, the inception of the name.
Yeah. So the firehouse basically came from all things fire. So everything I've ever done has either some indication of fire. So either fire or ignite. The firehouse literally is a fusion between publishing and multimedia. So we are right now the only noted publishing house and multimedia firm fusion that exists not only on the East Coast, but exists anywhere today.
Wow, that is amazing. And where do you work out of? What city are you in?
We're in Greensboro, North Carolina, but we actually have clients that are in the U.S. We've also serviced clients in South Africa, um, the Cayman Islands, and Jamaica. So we're rooted and grounded in Greensboro, but we pretty much are serviced internationally right now.
Wow, so this is a global aspect. Tremendous, tremendous. Side note, when did you decide that you wanted to become an entrepreneur and undertake this particular uh side of business?
Well, honestly, for me, entrepreneurship started really early. Like I remember being 16, 17 years old. As soon as I turned 18, the first business I had was a Mary Kay Cosmetics business. And I remember going to Guilford Tech. Shout out Guilford Tech. I remember going to Guilford Tech. You know what I'm saying? I remember going to Guilford Tech. And one time this girl was kind of like, let me get your number, da da da, and she's pulling out her phone. I'm pulling out a business card. I was always known for having a business card with some type of business, some type of vision. I've done
Okay.
everything from Mary Kay. I've done can't remember what company it was that had, where you can get like the laundry detergent and skincare in the same place, all that stuff. Uh,
Amway.
Yes. So I did Amway, Mary Kay, geez, what else? Um, a bunch of other things. A bunch of other things. I've done travel industry, all that stuff as well. But for me, what drew me to this, I really kind of got into it by accident. Um, I personally had no desire to be a book publisher, had no desire to get into multimedia at all. All I wanted to do was publish
Wow.
this one book that was on my heart back in 2016. And by the time I published the first book, I went to a retreat to serve for a retreat, and somebody said, "I feel like you have a book. You're supposed to be writing a book." And I said, "Well, I already wrote it. I was feeling really good about myself." Right. So I'm
Yeah.
up there like, "Oh, well, you're telling me, but I already wrote it. Like, that's just confirmation because I already did it."
Yeah.
And then they said,
Yeah.
"No,
Yeah.
there's another book." So, right. So here I go. So then she says, "Well, the second book is called Humpty Dumpty and Stilettos."
What?
And I'm like, Humpty Dumpty and Stilettos. And sure enough, November of that year came and I released my second book, had my first book signing, and three people at different times came in and said, "You should really help people publish their book." And by the third time, I was like, "Okay, fine." And I barely knew a thing. All I knew was what I had implemented for my own books, and just began helping people from there.
Wow. So this is a natural born innate gift that you have
Like,
to be able to uh, bring people together, cultivate ideas,
mhm,
and help them create. Has that
mhm.
always been a thing about your personality being a creative niche?
I think so. I mean, it's funny because like now that you said, I'm up here like, man, that's crazy. But yeah, like I really feel like I've always been the type that anytime I felt inclined to do a certain thing or to jump into a certain thing, I've never been the type to really question it. I've just always been the type to say, okay, yeah, let's get it, let's go. And if I don't know it, I'll figure it out. Like I'll never forget While I was at UNCG. I was in the dance program, and there was a combination dance in my
Yeah.
head, hard in my head, but I couldn't get my feet to do it. My head was like, I remember being so frustrated, and I ran out the room like it was so dramatic, like just ran out the room, ran out the room, went to the bathroom, and I literally began to cry, and I'm like, yo, like, God, why you bring me here? Like, why would you bring me here?
Right.
And put me in a class, and I can't even do the movements, and I've been dancing all my life. I mean, I just went to this whole thing, and all I remember like hearing back within myself was, why don't you just ask me to teach you? Like, did I create the sky? Did I create trees? Did I create? And I was like, yeah, you created all of that. And all I heard back was, did I create dance? So why don't you ask me how to do the movements that you're having problems with? And I stood in that bathroom and I said, Lord, I said, if you will, I said, teach me how to do these movements that I see in my head that will not come through my body for whatever reason. And I went back in that room, and when my group came up, I did it perfectly. So I've always, like, literally, and from that, I actually ended up being bumped up into senior level classes from there. And at the time, I was a sophomore, but I literally have always just been the type that, whatever comes to mind, that I feel a strong, igniting fire, passion, like I got to get it done. I just do it. And if I don't know how to do it, I'm like, okay, let me go to Google. Let me go to YouTube. Let me like figure it out. Like, I've never been the type that's, hey, can you teach me? Like, no, I'm trying to figure it out first. So if I do ask for help, I'm asking from an educated standpoint, not somebody that's like handicapped and just want a hand up.
I get you. I get you. Like me, I might be that individual, because even like whenever shouts out to Veep. He's the
I
most.
know, right?
So like even before the show started, he's like, "Hey everybody, check your resolution." I'm like,
Hey, that was me and you both. I was like, oh, bro.
no, but I knocked myself out the studio trying to check my resolution. So,
And you know what he said? He said, she'll be right back. I was like, okay.
Right, because he know my steez, like.
She'll come back.
So I say all of that to say, it's such a wonderful thing, such a wonderful thing that you're somebody who can definitely grasp a concept and be able to at least have a, like you said, an educated standpoint whenever you get continued assistance with a thing. Yeah. So, you don't have any formal training, and you've created this powerhouse of a multimedia literary dynasty. And I mean, I'm a poet, so I'm not embellishing the cut either, because if you've got clients in other continents and across the country, obviously there's something going on over at the Firehouse. Can you tell me, what do you offer from the literary standpoint? Not to give too much out, I guess what you could tell us up to whenever someone contacts you for a consultation. Can you tell us what it is that you provide from the literary standpoint, and then we'll explore the multimedia aspects in a moment. Say, for instance, I want to come in and talk to you about writing a book. Do you start from like, hey, the book, or do you actually get with them about what it is they want to do and help them devise the idea?
So we actually do what's called a discovery call. So the discovery call basically is set up to allow people to say, hey, I have a book. This is kind of like my forefront idea. We actually help individuals from concept to completion. So where other publishing houses are, you got to come with a full manuscript, you got to come with a literary agent, all of that stuff. We are what's called a hybrid publishing house, which means that we have the capacity to service what they call vanity clients, which are self-paying clients. And we also have the same capability of helping what's called traditional clients, which those are the ones that come with literary agents. So coming straight up, you come in, you do a discovery call. That call, we talk about all kinds of things: the book, your ideas, your budget. Because if you're coming in as a vanity client, you have to have a budget. A lot of people come in and they think, oh, well, you're a publisher, and I found out I'm not supposed to pay a publisher to publish my book. That is only true in the situation that you have if you are a traditional publishing client with a literary agent. That literary agent, you pay anywhere between $20,000 and $30,000 to by itself to represent you. So if
Just
you have a
representation?
just
I don't mean to
representation.
interrupt you. Just representation.
There's representation. And what that
All
person
right,
does
y'all.
is they are the ones to take your full manuscript. In those cases, you have to have a full written manuscript. And they take your manuscript and they take it to different publishers and pitch it to different publishers in an effort to get you signed. So if you're not a traditional client, not only do you have to have a literary agent, but you also have to have millions of followers that you can liquidate into a book sale. So if you're out
Mm.
here, if a person's out here and they got 1,500 followers, in their mind, they may be popular, but in the literary world, they're known as a vanity client because you don't have enough people to substantiate being able to just get somebody to basically do your publishing upfront for you. The other part of that is also just from the educational standpoint is as a traditional client, you only walk away with about 10% of your earnings. So if you sell 100,000 books, you get paid for 10,000 books. Yeah, part.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Can I stop you right there? Because that's a lot. We're just gonna have to break this down, right?
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me that your agent is the one that's supposed to put the money up for you and sell your story, basically, for someone to pick it up and want to publish it and distribute it?
Yeah. So the literary agent, you pay them to move your book around to get somebody to sign you. Now, these companies, they do have what's called advances, like they have in the music industry. There are also advances. But with those advances, you still have to be able to pay back whatever they advanced you. So let's say, for instance, you go into a company as a traditional client and they give you an advance of $100,000, but your book only yields $90,000. So now they use that entire amount that came in for the book and they put it towards that advance, but they're still in a loss of $10,000. So this is why most publishing houses, traditional publishing houses, they accept less than 1% of the manuscripts they receive every year. And this is why people begin to lean into places like Amazon and stuff like that. Amazon was not built, it was built to give a platform for people to be able to publish their work, but it doesn't mean it's being published properly just because a person does it themselves. 3 million books are published on Amazon every single day. So they don't have the manpower to, to be able to look at every single line and make sure all your stuff is correct. So they do like a kind of like an overview type thing, which is, they do amazing work. They do an overview type of thing and they put you out there into the publishing world. But again, if you don't know how to market, if you don't know how to move it, if you don't know how to get it out there, just because you say, hey, I got a book, it's on Amazon, that doesn't mean people are going to buy it. So yeah. So every day the day passes, people start doing Amazon. Some of them started doing Amazon because they couldn't get it published anywhere else. But other people started doing Amazon because they were scared to hear no from a publisher. And they just wanted their book out there no matter what.
Yeah, rejection is really, really tough. Yeah. Especially when it comes to creating a thing and just probably putting your heart and soul into the thing. And you definitely just want to be accepted, wanted to be understood through the eyes of your work.
I'm going to tell you though, so in the time that we've been a publishing house for 8 years now, I've only denied maybe 2 manuscripts in 8 years. So with us, we, when I say concept to completion, people can bring us what they have. I've been known to turn into a ghostwriter and ghostwrite for them. I've been known to turn into a developmental editor, concept editor, all of those things. So we discuss all of that in the discovery call. Like, do you have a manuscript? Where are you at in your manuscript? Is it in your head? Do you have a book title? Do you have chapter titles? Are you halfway through it? Are you 75% through? Are you 25%? Where are you at in your process? And wherever you are in your process, either, if it's just in your head, we now shift into not only coaching, but also accountability. So we talk about all that stuff just in the discovery call alone. After a person is signed, then after that, we go into the vision casting. And that's where it gets real. That's where it's like, yo, Like, these are the things we're talking about. These are the things we're doing. This is the title of your book. This is the absolute title of your book. No, you can't come later and say that you had a dream and some angel or some butterfly met you in your dream and said, I am the new title of the book. No, once you pick the title, that's it. So
Right.
we walk them through every step of the process. And I'll say this up front, and we'll probably talk about it later. But we're actually now launching our academy, Firelit Academy, and Coach Me Lit. So for those that are saying I don't want a publisher, but I need somebody to walk me through it, they can basically pay our company to walk them through the process and still do it themselves. Or for those that say this is way too much, because there are about 40 steps to successfully publish a book. This is way
Mm.
too much. I'll let somebody do it for me. Then we also have the capacity of the Firelit Academy to walk them through the process and then become their publisher.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're like the book A&R. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you're like when I say that, I'm not saying that in a weird way. It's like I want people to understand, almost to layman's terms, what it is that you're doing here. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You literally are babysitting someone's dream until they can bring it to life. And I don't mean to, you know, it's what it is. Like
It's
they're bringing you this baby and they want you to show them how to grow it and feed it and make it
Mhm.
a kid. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And
Yeah.
eventually be able to walk and talk on its own.
Yes,
That's real
ma'am.
good. Uh oh gosh, I didn't know that there were so many steps. And I don't think that our viewers or listeners did either.
Yeah.
Um the responsibility and accountability that you undertake as a publisher. Talk
Mhm.
about that for just a second for people to understand, hey, the reason why I asked for this price is because this is the work that is done. We will
Yeah.
get to that in a moment, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
I mean, it is a very intricate process. Most people, they think, okay, they kind of do this thing, right? So if I had my laptop right here, I would be really, really dramatic and kind of do the whole thing. But they finish that last word, they save it, and they say, "Oh my God, my book is done," and they send it, right? So they send it to me, right? But you didn't edit it before you sent it to me. You didn't read it before you sent it to me. You just sent it to me, which is a big no-no. Because when you send it to us, the first thing we do what's called a content review. So I'm going to
Mm,
read through the whole manuscript and I'm going to be like, okay, I know you didn't edit it first because over here it says the dog went up the 1, 2, 3. Like, wait, what? Did he go up the street? Did he go around the corner? Where did he go? So I can tell when a person hasn't even reviewed it, where they just did it and just sent it because they just were ready for it to be done.
mm,
But for us, once we get it, we do like a content review and then we send it back and say, okay, these are the things I need you to work on. So between the editing cycles alone, you're talking anywhere between 2 and 4 editing cycles. We offer in our packages 2 editing cycles. But after that person has gone through that process, if they're still saying, "Oh, I want to change this. Oh, I had an epiphany about this. Oh, I want to add chapter about that." Once you start adding those types of things in, not only does that change the editing cycle, but it changes the time as well. Because every time, even if you enter one word, that means we got to go all the way back and read the entire manuscript all the way over again to make sure that it makes sense. So a lot of
mm-hmm.
times people think, well, all I did was add one sentence, so you should be able to just approve that. No, I can't just approve it because
Can
if it
change the
messes
whole
up the flow,
dynamic.
it can change the whole direction of a book. I just want to add one chapter. Well, that's fine, but it can change the whole dynamic of a book, which now bumps you back
Mm-hmm.
two spaces in the process, right? Because you didn't come ready with your manuscript. So we go through editing cycles. Another thing that people do, I'm just saying off the top of my head, another thing that people have a tendency to do is, well, this is a good picture of me and it's a selfie, but I can use it for my bio picture in the back. You can't. Not only that, but you can't use your AI picture. We've had people submit AI pictures to us. Can you use this for my bio picture in the back of my book? No, we cannot. I need a picture of you because I have an AI picture too, and we got on the same outfit. So I need you to go through a professional photographer right? And get an actual picture done. We've had people come to us and say things like, well, you know, if I do a book with you, can you use this picture of me? I know I got my seatbelt on. I know I'm in the car, but you can just take my seatbelt off and because this lighting is good and my makeup was perfect. I can't. Like I
So
can't
you
use.
become so you photoshopping too?
Yeah, they want us to Photoshop. Like, can you take the background out? Can you take my cousin out the bed? You know, can you, can you like when I say we've had it all, we've literally had it all, you know. But at the end of the day, we educate on that. The editing cycle, what type of picture you need to submit. Not only do you have to have a full bio, but you also have to have a short bio because your full
Mm.
bio is the one on the back of the book. You need a synopsis of your book. What is your book even about? You know, are you going to do a forward? Are you going to do an introduction? Because they're not the same. So,
And
like, we
prefaces are
go.
prefaces different too?
Prefaces lean more into the actual introduction, but
Okay.
you can actually have a whole preface that's separate from the introduction and the forward. So when you're talking about a forward, you're talking about an outside person looking in at you and affirming you who you are, and now affirming you as an author as it relates to this specific topic. But when you start
Wow.
talking about like an introduction, that is the author themselves saying, listen, welcome to my world. This is what we're going to talk about. This is what we're going to do. But when you begin to talk about a preface, you are now adding more weight to the introduction. So it really can be separate, where you're adding more specificities to it, but you have all of that. Then you have marketing, you have pre-sales, you have post-sales, you have, all types of things,
Mm-hmm.
so it really is. I mean, roughly, when I first did mine, I think it had maybe 20 steps to it. But now you're leaning anywhere between 20, 40, sometimes even 50 different steps, depending upon how far
Mm.
you go with it, especially if I want to do a podcast, or I want to do a book signing event, or I want to do a book signing tour. We offer management for those as well. Like we set authors up even, locally, where they can actually come into a space and have a whole book signing event, and we
Mm.
oversee that for them. We help to make sure they get all the books signed, and we put them in bags, and we make sure they get their money, and we do all that stuff too. We do more than what publishing houses are probably supposed to do. But for me, the original blueprint that I was given in regards to this area of my life was to give what I didn't have. Because when I published my
Right.
first book, I couldn't afford an editor. I couldn't afford a graphic artist. I had to basically go on Microsoft Word and do clip art to try to fuse together, if you will, my first book cover. The back of my first book cover wasn't even a professional headshot. It was a really good picture of me at Cracker Barrel, sitting in one of them rocking chairs.
That's what's up. So you
Matter,
basically telling me church girl, club girl, church girl.
mm-hmm.
What? Tell me the title.
Church girl, club girl, guys girl.
Okay, you're
Yeah.
talking about that book. That book cover is clip art.
No, now that this gonna trip you out. That book cover, the front book cover, came from a. I actually put it into a program, turned it into a cartoon, but it was actually a picture of me and my husband. One anniversary, we went to Charlotte and we went to a concert, and we were at the hotel, and there was a
Okay.
picture that I took of me. And I was messing around the program one day, and that picture came up and turned it into a cartoon. I was like, yo, that could be a really dope book cover. And
Right.
so even with that book has turned into now where people are asking for 3 separate books. So now they want to see what happened to the church girl, what happened to the club girl, what happened to God's girl. And so we're in the works now of making that into a fictional book, even though it's a nonfiction book. It's based on my life, but incorporating some fictional attributes and things of that nature, to tell the story, to complete the stories that people want to hear so bad, apparently. So,
Golly.
yeah. So, that's in the works, and somebody's even asked about doing a stage play about it. So, we'll see how that goes.
Cool. So, real quick, I just want to make sure we've covered our bases when it comes to the difference between the firehouse
Yes.
and other entities, because we'll say other entities because you're giving us so much information and so many jewels today.
Mhm.
Whereas, like you said, the vanity client is coming in, you know, they have to pay for their own stuff.
Yeah.
They're not represented by an agency. They're not represented by anyone but themselves. And people just really feel like that's something that they can come into a place like yours and say, hey, this is what I got, this is what I need, and this is X amount of price. Oh, that's too much. You are entering a realm of literary art where it is required for you to have someone to be able to actually receive your manuscript, shop your manuscript, and actually be your agent and act as you out in the world doing the things that you can't do as an individual, as a writer, as an author.
Absolutely.
You at Firehouse do it all.
Yes. We like literally are a one-stop shop. The only thing we do not do as it relates to literary composition, we do not print on site. So we don't print our books on site. We outsource those, but everything else we do here. So for instance, like a person can come in and say, well, how much is this promotion or how much is this package? We have some packages right now. We have a promotional package right now for $1,500 that includes a lot of what I just discussed on here. But what people don't know, if you don't do your research, that editing alone costs anywhere between $500 and $700 or more, depending upon how many words you have. So basically, that's just the editing portion alone. That's not pre-sale management. That's not marketing. That's not discovery calls. That's not coaching. I've even researched other companies where they offered less than half what I offered on one package. And I was thinking I was, you know, being crazy for asking $1,500 for it. And for less than half that they offered in comparison to me, the total came up $5,200 and da 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 da. How would you like to pay for that today? But the thing about it is that is actually the going rate, and that is the acceptable rate. And their rate actually had a discount. It had like a $300 discount or something attached to it. And so for me to say $1,500 and to know that I really should be saying $5,200, $5,300, you know, because keep in mind, people are paying $1,200 just for hair. People are paying $1,200 right now to have a private dinner with a private chef. You know what I'm saying? And that's a one-time thing. That's like a, you know, you're eating right now, but you might be hungry later, you know, or you're getting your hair done, and 3 months from now, you got to get it done again. But when you publish a book, that book is good for 70 years. We have a whole identifier that we attach to your title that keeps that title and everything intact for at least 70 years. So
that's a lifetime. It's considered a lifetime, right?
Yeah. So you're looking at, you know, $1,500 and saying, oh my God, that's crazy, or $2,500, $3,500, $5,500. Well, okay, $5,500, but what's the last car you ever saw that you paid $5,500 for that lasted 70 years?
Talk.
You know what I'm saying? or the last catering thing you had for $5,500 that lasted 70 years, right? And so with us, even if the package is $55, even if it's $25, that's still, we still give you the same accessibility where that title is secured for at least 70.
Just like the seasons, it's crazy you don't need me, but you know I need you. In the middle of my storm, you say just sit back, let me lead you. Just know that I'm God. You know the feeling is real. You so in tune with me that you know every hair I got on top of my head, every move that I make, every step that I take. You know all about it, you know all about it, so I don't need to be fake. I don't know why you died for me. The answer's hard to find, so they're like we're playing hide and seek. But you saw something inside of me, and that's fine with me, because in you is where I find my peace. So when the problems come and make it hard to see, I'ma ride the wave, just like I ride the beat.
I just can't believe it, yet I still believe it. You died for me. You died for me. I just can't believe it, yet I still believe it. You set me free. Yeah. I try to wrap my mind around it, but your ways and your thoughts cannot be explained. I ask a lot of questions because you want me to know you will and get understanding. I believe. I believe.
I be thinking how you love a little sinner like me. If they knew about my past, I know they wouldn't like me. You sent your son to die, and I don't take it lightly. Any problems that I have, I know you got me. Oh, I believe that you died on the cross. Rose again to save the lost. When it comes to this trip, man, I ain't gonna lie, you're the reason for all of the songs. Gotta run it back, gotta run it back. You the reason for the songs. And I believe that I was bald. You broke the chains and set me free. Ain't no way that I can't believe. It's because of you that I make brand new. I've been purchased, you paid the fee. I don't look like what I've been through. All my sins been washed clean. I hope you understand what I'm saying, virtuous. Won't you tell them what I
just
mean?
can't believe it, yet I still believe it. You died for me. You died for me. I just can't believe it, yet I still believe it. You set me free. Yeah. I try to wrap my mind around it, but your ways and your thoughts cannot be explained. I ask a lot of questions because you want me to know you will and get understanding. I believe. I believe. I believe. I believe in the Father. Yeah. I believe in the Son, the only begotten. I believe in the Holy Ghost. Oh, I believe that you won, and we are more than conquerors. I just can't believe it, yet I still believe it. You died for me. You died for me. I just can't believe it, yet I still believe it. You set me free. Yeah. I try to wrap my mind around it, but your ways and your thoughts cannot be explained. I ask a lot of questions because you want me to know you will and get understanding. I believe. I believe. I believe.
Wow. And see, the thing about it is, I'll take it a step further for you. You gave them an investment.
Absolutely. We haven't had a service that we've done yet where they invested more than we did. No, not one. Out of 150 authors, and that's no shade, that's no nothing. That's like a compliment. Like we have never, like we tell every author when they walk in this door, there's no way that you're going to invest more than we do. Like by the end of this, by everything that we invest, by everything you invest, if you pay me $1,500, you're gonna walk out with probably about $5,500 worth of services that you're never gonna see an invoice for. Because I just want to make sure it's right. I want to make sure it's good. I want to make sure that your baby survives this process. So if it was such thing as a literary midwife per se, that's kind of like the approach that we take. From the literary standpoint to the graphics part of the literary standpoint. So yeah, it's crazy. Sometimes I'm like, Lord, what in the world am I doing? But I'm submitted to it.
So I'm sure that 25, 26, you're gonna, have to meet the demand of your prices increasing. So people have got to get to you and get acclimated with Firehouse sooner than later. I mean, of course, they got to understand if hamburger is 50% more than it was last year, and all of the things. The bananas used to be 49 cents, honey. They're $1.09 now.
Yeah,
and they ugly.
It's different now. Like, shoot, somebody just said the other day eggs were 2 something last week, and now they're 4.17 or something like
small.
that. Yeah, I mean, it's it's the ever changing evolution of things, and like even for us, I was just trying to meet the demand of what we were going to have to do, especially as we prepare to shift as a company. And I ain't gonna lie, like I connected with people. I connected with Afterpay. I connected with Affirm. I'm connected with Klarna. I'm connected with Repay. I'm connected with Amazon Pay, Cash App Pay. Like, and I did that so that people could have accessibility, so they wouldn't have to be like, oh my God, it's $1,500. Oh, I can never afford that. Okay, well, have you ever applied to Klarna? Because if you go to Klarna, they can break it down in 12 payment installments. Or if you go to Affirm, they can give you a 12-pay installment. And guess what? You get immediate access to me because they handle me, right? So I'm doing business with them. They take care of me. So I'm taking care of you. And then you're just paying them back for what they already paid me. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So people are under this inclination that, I've got to wait. I don't have a manuscript. I don't have this. I'm just wait till I'm done. But there's a lot of people that's been working on the manuscript for 10 years and they're still working on the same chapter. Why not connect with a publisher who has the capability of keeping you accountable, holding you accountable and saying, yo, like, how's your manuscript coming? How are you? This book, matter of fact, this book right here, When Legacy Rises from the Threshing Floor, it was the very first collaboration book that I ever published. It has 23 women in it, right? Some of these women told stories about gang rape, abortion, like all types of things. And some of them, even at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, called me and said, hey, can you stay on the phone with me? Because I'm writing the worst part of my chapter right now. And what did I do? I got up out my bed. I sat on the edge of my bed, got on my phone. I said, okay. And they sniffled and they wrote, and they didn't want me to say a word. They didn't want me to interject. All they wanted me to do was just sit. Yeah, they just needed somebody to be there so they could get through that part of their chapter. Once they got through it, we got off the phone, we move on our life, So we do a lot of things, like I said, that publishing houses don't do. We probably do a lot of things that if a traditional publishing house heard what we do, they probably say, girl, you're doing way too much. I'm having to forcefully and lovingly come into the acceptance of the depth of what we actually offer and the value of that offer. So, yeah.
That's right. So we've talked about the literary aspect of the Firehouse.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the multimedia aspect of Firehouse.
Yeah.
And what made you want to take it? Let's start there. What made you want to take it a step further than just helping write the book? Multimedia includes mixed media, emerging media, and all the things. Tell us why you took that route.
I was already doing it and didn't know. So it took a really great friend of mine named Tracy Darden, Live Life, and her husband.
Shout out to the Dardens.
Yeah, and Miles Darden, with Blue Cherry Photography. And literally one day we were talking and she was like, sis, she was like, I think you're doing multimedia and you don't know it. And I was just like, multi who? And she was like, multimedia. Like, this is like earlier this year. Yeah. You're doing multimedia. I'm like, what? And so I finally one day said, what the heck is this? And I pulled it up and literally everything she said. I mean, we already had the podcast room, right? Already had the podcast room. We was already doing coaching. We do landing pages for people. It doesn't matter if it's a book or not. So if it's a person that has a special event and they want a focused website where people can come to sign up for a service or sign up for a coaching or sign up for an event, we build those landing pages for them. Already doing websites. We already have the store. We were already doing t-shirt designs. We were already doing cup designs. We were already doing the flyers. All of these things we were already doing, but we just said, well, here's the publishing house and these are the other extra things that we offer, only to realize that no, like that's multimedia all by itself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really something that I stumbled into, because what I was trying to do was I was trying to give the opportunity of the author to have everything. So the author could come here, and if they needed a space to write, we have a dedicated room that they can actually come right in and work on their developmentals and all of that stuff, right? No other publishing house has that. So, we offered a room, and it's literally, there's a Bluetooth in there, Bluetooth speaker. They can play their music. We have Himalayan sea salt lamps in there. We have water sounds in there. They can make a whole feng shui type situation if they need to provide the perfect environment for them to write in. Even if a person wants to come work on vision casting, we're about to go into the next year. So somebody watching right now may say, I need a quiet space where I can come and work on my 2025. We offer that space where they can come do that too. And then we started having authors who wanted to turn their book titles into t-shirts. That's how we started getting into the t-shirt thing. So, and they said, well, can I get a bag? Well, sure, you can get a bag. And then here we are in the background. How do you do a bag? Like, we were like, and we figured it out. My goddaughter, Deshauna, shout out to Deshauna. She figured it out. Because when I first got my first space, all she said was, Mom, I just want to help you. Just give me something to do. And I told her, I said, you know what? I've been doing graphics. I've been doing the whole thing by myself this whole time. This was up to 4 years ago. So the first 4 years, it was all me. And after that, I said, you know what? I'm going to give you the graphics part of this. I want you to run with it. So now, she's doing t-shirts. She's doing bags. She's doing hats. She's doing cups. She's doing the swag bag type situations. She's doing vinyl shirts. She's doing she's doing all of these different things. She's doing the flyers. She's doing, the whole 9 yards, And so, we literally just stumbled into it. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just obeying the instruction I heard. And
yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So, we're just going to excel. That's a lot. So you mean to tell me, and I know you.
Yeah.
We worship together. I've known you a long time.
Yeah.
She's the shepherd. She's the co-shepherd of the house. Well, actually, she's the first lady and co-servant leader of the house in which I worship in, Maximizing Life Family Worship Center.
Hey.
And I did not know this.
Yeah.
I did not know this. So it's even more to me to have you on today for people within our scope, our listeners and our viewers, to understand the gravity of what is at hand in the triad.
Yeah.
Like, we literally have this monster sitting over here ready to just disembowel and break up any facades that you have about being able to write a book, oh gosh,
it's possible.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited for you. I'm thinking that you are publishing books, yes, consulting people in the aspects of writing. But wow, when you think about attaching that element, you're literally doing everything. Or to, like you said, from conception to what? Is that a tagline? Is that something you have?
So
Have you trademarked that?
That would be good, right? That's actually honestly kind of like our mission. Our actual tagline is "Let's Ignite Your Creative Genius." Is our actual tagline. But when it comes down to the motto, it's literally from conception to completion. So if people come and the book is up here, we can help them. If people come and it's, whatever, we can help them. We've even had clients that have come and said, my book is done, but I need to do some remake on this book. And we're able to assist with that as well. The only thing I would say is to that, if you have a book that's already done and you're wanting to have it redone, then you must add more content to make it a different book. So it can't be like, hey, this other person over here published me and I didn't like the way they formatted it. Can you format it? And those
you don't want to mess with nobody else's entities. Nope. You can't touch it.
Nope. In that case, we will probably refer you back. It's almost like a hairstylist that says, "Oh yeah, I love doing hair, but if I didn't install that, then I'm not gonna uninstall that." But if a person
Absolutely.
comes, yeah, but if a person comes and they say, "Hey, this is part two of this book, or this is a remake of this book." For some of you, like, if you're in college and they have the editions, they'll say, this is math edition 7, edition 8, edition 12. That means that somebody has gone in and added more content, which made it another book. In those cases, we can do those. But if it's more so like, yeah, they forgot to put the word "and" on this chapter, can you redo this book for me? No, I will probably send you back to, whoever did it the first time. Simply because now we could potentially get into issues of title and being able to secure your title. Once that title is out there, it's yours. And that's another thing people don't know. They get excited, they get online, they say, "I've got a book coming out and my book is going to be called Sheets," or something, right? I'm just saying it because I got coffee over here.
Shout out to Sheets.
Like, they're going to be like, "I'm going to call my book Sheets," right? And somebody could be on their live and say, "Yo, that's dope. I didn't think about that." And guess what? Now
they got a book named Sheets too.
They can go and they can secure the title Sheets. So by the time you get ready to secure it because you were so excited, you go and you secure the title and you find out you can't have that title because somebody else secured it. So for those that are on here, like doing your lives, and I got a book and I'm going to publish a book and it's going to be called,
don't you tell nobody but God.
Listen, on God, like, for real, like, just keep it right there. Like, don't do nothing else, like, for real, because there are grimy people out here and they will hear your title and they will say, "Yo, I love it." And I've talked to clients that that's happened to, where they did a live or they did an event or something. And a person said, "I heard you say, girl, that's a bad, I need to borrow that." And they're thinking maybe they're just going to write a post about it. And they write a whole book. And then the person
stole it.
Yeah. Like, stole it. And guess what? You can't do anything about it because they got it first.
Wow.
So you can't say, "Well, here's my live and I said it first." It doesn't matter. It's who has it first on the identifier. That's what counts.
So let me ask you something. I'm trying to think of something that y'all don't, that y'all couldn't possibly be doing.
Okay.
You're doing everything over at the firehouse. You're doing everything. Okay. So IBSN numbers and going on Barnes and Noble, or selling a book on Amazon or Kindle. Y'all don't do that?
Yes, we do.
What?
I'm actually
talk to them, tell them about it.
Yeah. So my company is actually in connection with the company that creates the ISBNs. So we have the capacity, as a company. We can actually order. We already have them already locked where we order X amount of ISBNs at a time. So when a client comes to us and says, "I got my title, I got it," we can go into our system. We can secure their ISBN for them within 3 to 4 days. The moment we put it in there, it's secured. Within 3 to 4 days, it's sent out to every whatever, every entity, every company, whatever. And basically it's like, yo, like, yeah, this is their number. This is their title. And they, at that point, they are free to use that title, even if the book isn't out yet. After that number has been distributed, they can open their mouth and say, "That's what we do." The other thing that I didn't know, I found out by accident. One day I was looking for a link to send somebody to purchase Church Girl, Club Girl, God's Girl. The reason why I have to look up and say it, because I've written 23 books. So when I look up, I'm trying to remember which book it is, right? So
put a pin in that, because we're gonna talk about that before we get out of here, because the proof is in the pudding. Go ahead.
So I'm like, trying to find the code or trying to find a link or something for somebody. And when I typed it in, it came up and said barnesandnoble.com. I said, and I tapped on it, and sure enough, my book was sitting in Barnes and Noble. I said, "What?" And I'm like, "What the heck is that?" So then I started typing in other titles, and other titles were coming up. So, man, Church Girl, Club Girl, God's Girl, I can't even keep in stock. Like, I'm always having to order more of them. But like this one, Before You Hit 40, that's on Barnes and Noble. Not With Your Legs Crossed, I think it's on Barnes.
Pause. Wait.
Huh?
Those are books that you've written?
Yeah.
Okay, look, wait, just put them down. Let's finish this IBS. Wait. Let's finish the IBSN number thing.
Yeah.
So y'all do offer the ISBN number,
Yes.
and that in turn links them to the ability to be on Barnes and Noble websites. What other websites?
Barnes and Noble, you can submit to Barnes and Noble, we can submit to Target, we can do all of that stuff. Now, what I didn't know with Barnes and Noble is that because of the standard on which we produce through Amazon, they have a whole tracking system, and they have a dedicated person. So anytime I release a new author into Amazon space, within maybe a week, that client is accepted into Barnes and Noble. So a process that should take about 8 to 9 months to be accepted, they're accepted within 4 or 5 days by working with us. So that's real great.
Because you're already an entity that is involved in that process.
And it's based on the standard of which we produce. We produce on the standard they require, so they are more apt to accept you. Now, what I will tell you guys as a side note, if you, and I'll just put it this way, for those of you who are like, well, I don't have to pay for an ISBN, I can get one for free. You can get a free ISBN. You can get a free ISBN, but it's not a true ISBN. And so the companies that you want to pitch to, Target, Barnes and Noble, they will not accept your book if it's not a true ISBN. If it is a free number assigned to your book, they will not accept it because it's seen as a competitor. So if you do not have a true ISBN assignment, more than likely they're not going to accept your book. And no, they don't call you to tell you that they're not accepting it. They just don't respond. So,
and where can you get that from? The Firehouse?
The Firehouse.
What?
The Firehouse. Okay.
I don't understand. I just don't understand. I'm very, very competitive, right? And you sitting here talking about some competitive amenities that your business offers.
But this is the thing, Sherrita, because people try to cut corners and they're like, well, this is easy. I could do this. I'm just going to write my book. I'm going to do a Microsoft Word. I'm going to go through the auto editor. I ain't got to pay editor. I'm going to go through here and And that's not even the full process, ma'am, sir. like there's a whole process behind this. There's a whole monster behind this. There's a whole, intricate design. And a lot of times people come into it like, well, I know how to do this. No, babe, it's like it took me 8 years to figure out that there's 40 steps, 40 proper steps, roughly. And so even for our clients, we offer a platform specifically designed to their actual project, to their actual literary release that has every step that we're going to go through with them, even down to if we're still working on our part, if they're still working on theirs, if we need to get a certain thing from them, the date that we need it by. Like we have all of that. We do all of that. And most publishing traditional houses, their process is very simple. It takes 1 to 2 years to publish with a traditional publishing house. So, and you don't get to pick the date you publish your book. They tell you what date is going to be released. And they don't talk to you. They talk to your literary agent, and they only talk to them about 3 or 4 times on average.
So any ideas or anything that you need done or anything that you want, or if you have concerns, you really can't get them addressed in the other process.
No, you're more likely going through like a third party. And by the time they talk to you, you probably talk to them maybe 4 or 5 times within a 2-year period. So for us to be a company that says, hey, during our working hours, you can actually message us through this platform and we'll let you know. Like if you say, hey, does this chapter sound good? We can reply back and say yes or no. Does this, should I be, here are my pictures. Do these pictures look good? We can say yes or no. Versus it being something where it's like, hey, got your manuscript, talk to you in a year, talk to you in 2 years when it's ready to be released. Wow. We have a platform where they actually have that type of communication flexibility with us. So yeah, we offer a lot of it's a lot of touch involved, a lot of touch capacity that's also involved. So yeah.
So out of the 40 steps, the publishers and the publishers' assistants, the staff at Firehouse are involved. They're a phone call or an email or a text away within a 24-hour turnaround.
Yeah. Like usually for us at any given time, I think the most we've had, even now, I think the most we've had is probably like 20 clients at a time. So basically on our side, we try to do within 24 if we can. If not, sometimes it can be 48 or 72. It just depends. Because of course, right now it's primarily Deshauna and I, but we also bring in interns. So we've had interns in the past who have come in as
Right.
editors. We've had freelance editors come in and all of those things or whatever. So we offer like a lot of flexibility with that. But for us,
Mhm.
the most important part is the actual like accessibility, the fact that you can talk to your publisher at some point. You see what I'm saying? Versus a traditional publisher where you're not going to talk to them at all really until it's
Mhm.
about time for you to be published. And so we offer things on our side. One of the things that we offer is one basically is like a one call during their process where they can bring all of their questions about their process to the table. So
Gotcha.
halfway through, you know, they can hit us up and say, hey, I want to schedule a time to talk to somebody, that type of thing. And we have to do it that way for us because with 20 clients, if 20 clients were asking questions all the time, we never get anything done.
Right.
Right. So we have what's called a mastermind session. And so in that mastermind session, they can schedule time and then they come and they say, hey, I got a question about this paragraph. Hey, I got a question about my next steps. And we also now are doing video correspondences, which basically means that we actually pre-record information. Hey, you accomplished your next goal. This is what I got it. This is what I need you to do next. And so
Okay.
we're starting to implement that now so that people still have a face, right? But that they also have the instructions. And that if they ever have
Right.
a question about the instructions, all they got to do is go back and watch the video.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. You've got it. I'm not saying that you got it all figured out because I'm pretty sure that there are some other nuances that you will include in your
Always,
amenities.
always learn.
But at this point, you've got the competition by the neck.
So
I
let's
just
do
need
it.
people to understand. I want to take about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
We're going to get to that at the end. I want to take about 2 minutes. How many books have you written yourself personally?
23.
Wow. And all of these books are available on Barnes and Noble and other resources.
So Barnes and
Okay.
Noble and Amazon. Yep. Mhm.
So, ladies and gentlemen, listeners and viewers, she is a established writer,
Mhm.
assisting writers with their dreams
Yeah.
at the Firehouse. What made you write 23 books? Like, I got 23 books inside my head, but how did you actually get down
Woo.
and physically want to sit down? How did you carve out time? You're a full-time
Everything,
clergy,
right?
you're a full-time mom, you're a full-time executive director of, I don't want to go into those other things. So we have to do a whole nother podcast. But I'm
Yeah.
saying, like, how did you find time to write
Okay,
23
so
books?
I'm gonna tell you, you use your resources, right? So the first book I ever wrote, yeah, I had to sit down and write that. In the Face of Expected Failure was my very first book. Had to sit down and
Okay.
write that, right? Plow through that. That was in 2016. Now, this book that I showed you earlier, so Humpty Dumpty and Stilettos, you know where this book came from?
Hmm.
This book came from my top, what was it? My top Facebook post that people misconstrued. So I went through my Facebook history for a month and I wrote down every post that either was misconstrued or I didn't have enough content to really explain what I was thinking. And I
Right.
took those concepts and put it in a book. That's where this came from. So sometimes it comes from outlines. People like use your technology, right? So you have voice clip. You could be driving down the street and I've been known to come on a voice clip and say, I got a book title. This is what I heard. Or, voice to text. You know, we can download voice to text now, right? So you download voice to text. And whenever a thought hits you, get on that voice to text app and say what you hear, right? And then go back later and clean it up. course, Microsoft Word. You can go on Microsoft Word now, and they have dictate. You click on dictate, open your mouth and talk. The microphone picks up what you're saying and it types every single word that you're saying. Then you go back and you clean it up. You put in your punctuations. You put in your chapter divisions. You do what you do from that point. So, I mean, absolutely positively, like where there is a will, there is a way. And so for those that say, well, I just don't have time, you do have time, but how are you using it? Right? While you're driving, you can be writing a whole book while you're driving. Well, how? Voice clip, open your mouth and talk. Then go home and type it out, or voice to text, or dictate if you're at home, and just open your mouth and just start speaking. It's very simple. We make it difficult. We think I got to go in the neck of the woods somewhere and sit in a cabin for 6 months, and I've got to, like hibernate. I'm writing
with a lantern.
Like a whole lantern, like we Jim Carrey, like book, But sometimes it is just like using your technology, or going back in your Facebook memories and every day for a month saying, I'm going to pull the top 30 things that I see in my Facebook memories that kind of trigger me. And I'm going to take that, I'm going to turn it into a book title. I'm going to take that and turn it into
man.
Like, y'all, we have something called Facebook. We've been writing books for at least 15 years. There's nobody on Facebook that's not an author because they're sitting on Facebook.
Mind blown.
Right? They're sitting on Facebook. So you can get on there, even if you say, today's a beautiful day. I see the flowers outside. Guess what? It's Facebook. You just wrote a chapter. Like you just wrote a chapter idea, right? The beauty, like for instance, I can take these flowers right here and say the beauty in your day. Like, where did I get that from? Because I'm just looking at the flowers, right? I'm looking at some flowers that are fully engulfed, they're fully open. Then there's another flower up here that looks like it's coming open. Guess what? Emerging. The flower that emerges first, right? This flower this flower right here has a whole map on it, if you can see it, right? And it's a closed flower. Right?
Wow.
Borderless strategies. Like, and it
infinite knowledge.
Infinite knowledge, borderless strategies. Like the nations are waiting, right? The nations are waiting to blossom, to bloom. Like, and we make it so difficult. And it, it's like what Lauryn Hill said, it could be so easy, but you'd rather make it hard. Love is like a battle. We both end up with scars. Like, it could really be easy, but we make it very difficult unnecessarily.
Wow. And with that, we will segue into how to get in touch with the Firehouse.
Yeah.
And Brandi Rojas and her team. Yeah. Talk to us. Tell us how to get in touch with you guys.
The easiest way for those that are like, I'm ready to do business, and then those are the ones we're looking for, right? I'm not looking for the suspect. I'm looking for the serious. All right. In this season, I'm not looking for those that are just like, oh, I just got questions. I'm just really curious. No, I'm looking for those that are courageous, right? Those that are ready to complete some things. The best way to get in contact with us is through bit.ly/ready aim fire with a Y. So READYAIMFYRE, all capital letters. bit.ly/ready aim fire. And that will lead you to a form that will ask you some key questions: who you are, what you're trying to accomplish, what your timeline is, all of that. And then our team will get in contact with you. We have Firelit ambassadors, and they actually get in contact with you from there to schedule a time for a discovery call. And then from there we get to work.
All right, man. Oh, real quick, on social media, where can they find Firehouse, excuse me.
Yeah. The Firehouse Multimedia Enterprises LLC. That's our name on Facebook, on Instagram, and TikTok. It is the Firehouse NC. So FYREHOUSE NC is where you can find us there.
And remember, it's not the I in fire. It's the Y.
It's the
Make
Y.
sure y'all know that.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So yeah, and it's a why, because like the why looks like a person that's surrendering. The why looks like a person that's worshiping. So that's why I picked it. So anybody that's like, why did you pick a why? Or how do I remember that it's why instead of I? It is the person that's finally like, I'm available, I'm ready to get to work. Let's go get it. Let's go.
Ready, aim, fire.
Fire.
Man, it's been amazing having you on the Figures of Speech Talkcast today. I'm gonna have to have you on again. Maybe whenever you do your next release, or just whenever you need us, you let us know, and we're here on this side of the media aspect to spread the word about Firehouse. And this, oh my gosh, established entrepreneur Brandi Rojas. My name is Sherrita C W Delacruz, and this has been the Figures of Speech Talkcast.